Hello, my name is Marcos, and I want to share a short tutorial of how enable a machine on cloud in order to use Screaming Frog. This idea came from my wife's requirement. She works as a SEO, and her work sometimes consumes a huge amount of resources of her laptop. This, of course, impacts of the performance and response time of the tools she uses. The solution? Well, add more RAM, buy another CPU, or buy a new laptop more powerful. Those are valid options, but there is another one that we are going to discuss on this video. Being honest, the crawling of sites that has thousand or million pages can consume all these resources on a normal laptop, and not all of us can have a superpower machine with the latest technology that can support this kind of workload. A couple of years ago, I have started to work on cloud environments, and the obvious alternative was to launch an instance that executes the task mentioned before. The cloud we decide to use depends on our taste, knowledge, and obviously the cost we can afford. The advantage: first, the cost by usage of a VM in the cloud versus the cost of buying a new laptop or desktop machine. Also, the ability to escalate the resources of our virtual machines literally in minutes versus, again, the process to buy new RAM models, new type of CPU, disk, etc. if we decide to increase the resources of our actual machine. The same way, the ability to escalate horizontal, I mean to increase the number of VMs versus the time we have to wait until we receive our new laptop or desktop machine after buying it. Finally, the workload, the execution of tasks that takes hours to complete and can be run on cloud machines and let it run without being connected and turn off our computers and just let us see lately how long it takes to finish. All of this is independent of the cloud we choose to use. Therefore, there is some consideration that we must take on account. First, the OS we will use, Windows or Linux, the knowledge we have, and the advantage that give us the use of each system. Then and obviously the taste of uh, to us of one specific OS. Another point we have to worry about is the Office tools, which tool we need in order to generate some brief, dashboard, or any other document that is generated with the data that provide the Screaming Frog tool. Finally, the license is also another important topic. We can choose to pay for it with the cost of the VN on cloud itself, or maybe we can choose to bring your own licenses and using it. In addition to all of this, and based on the info that I have found on the internet, we can search an official link that will guide us on how to enable an instance on cloud in order to use the Screaming Frog tool. This link will take you in a very good step-by-step on how to do it with a Linux machine, but on Google Cloud. How to install the tool, license it, and finally how to configure it properly. All we have to do is search for it in Google, Screaming Frog Cloud, and this will take us to this link, how to run the Screaming Frog SEO Spider in the cloud. And you will find the entire info that you need to launch that instance on Google Cloud. All of that you can find there, but in this case, we choose to use AWS. First, because in the cloud that I am working right now is that one. And second, because this is the one that provides a better user experience, at least for me. Again, you can use the cloud, it better fits for you. Now, I want to show you the console and the process of how to enable this VM on this cloud. Once you are logged in on your account, we see the initial dashboard and we can search the EC2 services. When we are on the EC2 service, we can launch an instance through the Launch Instance option. And here we can configure all about our virtual machine. First, the name of the VM that we want to launch. Then, the OS type. In this case, is an Ubuntu. I choose this one because I have found an easy tutorial to access this OS by G using Windows RDP. After that, we choose the instance type, or basically the resources that we want to assign to the VM. According to the Screaming Frog link, we can use a T2.2x large family of instances that meet the requirement of this tutorial. Now, if we want to access the instance by SSH, we need a key pair. We can generate one, we give it a name, and we can recognize this key pair. We proceed to export it and use it. All of that if we need or want to use it that way. In my case, I have one created before, so I will not generate a new one. We also can edit the network, the VPC where the machine will be allocated. We leave it by default, and this is important. We leave enable the allocation of a public IP because we are going to use it to access the machine via RDP. We proceed to create a new security group and configure the appropriate permissions to access the VM. In this case, we leave the SSH port and we add the Windows RDP port. We give full permissions, but we can edit this with more accurate permissions. We give the maximum amount of space. We can configure it in the free tier, 30 gigabytes, in order to avoid any additional cost. And finally, launch the instance, and we will have to wait to finish to initialize. In this case, is the instance that is marked as pending, as you can see, the one that has been launched. We are going to pause the video until the process is completed. Okay, once we have the instance running, we can see some details like the local IP, the VPC IP, or its public IP. We can also check the configuration of the security group that we have made at the instant launch, and that we are going to do is to connect to this instance through the console. This is an option that allows to connect to our instance through the browser using the public IP we enabled before. It is an easy way to do it, but always we can use a SSH client. So we select a EC2 instance, connect option, and we wait until the connection is established. Once it is finished, we will see the terminal and we are ready to go on. First, we elevate permission through sudo command, and then as root, we proceed with the rest of the procedure. If we search on Google how to connect an Ubuntu machine with G, we found one link that I think it shows the easiest way to do it with just a few commands. Okay, we update our OS. This is quite fast, and then we need to install LXDE package. That is a requirement to install later XRDP package. All we have to do is copy and paste these commands and wait until the process it is complete. You can see more details in the link that I show in the video. At this point, I am going to again pause the recording. We will resume it when it is complete, because this is going to take a little bit longer. Okay, when the first installation is complete, we proceed to install the XRTP package, and this is going to take some time, but not much as before. This is the one that let us connect to our Ubuntu machine through the remote desktop from Windows. Once the package is installed, we open the RDP connection interface and enter the public IP from our instance. We click on connect, and then we will be asked to enter a username and password. By default, this instance uses Ubuntu as user, but we have not set a password for that user yet. So we proceed to do that. We set the password, repeat it, and then we are set. We return to our instance and enter this command. No? After that, we can see we are already connected to our instance. Now, finally, we can install Screaming Frog using the terminal. And in order to do that, we have to follow the steps shows in the official link we can find searching Screaming Frog in the cloud, as we see before. And this link give us some reasons to use cloud instead of our laptop, talk about costs, let us see how to do it in Google Cloud, but in this case we use Amazon Cloud. So we can move on and go straight to step 4, install the Screaming Frog SEO Spider. So all we have to do is copy this command, paste it, and download the package. As you can see, we can download 60.7 version of the tool, but if you can find a newer one, you can download. Depends on you. We wait till the download is complete. This process took a little bit. Then once we have the installer, we proceed to install it on the VM. We copy the command. In this case, we have an access deny. We can give it full permissions and then try to install it again. Okay, access deny. Okay. This is, we need to elevate permissions. We become root again, and then we are already in the same directory. We launch the install command, and then we are installing the Screaming Frog tool. The unzipping process started, and then is the installation. This process is faster than others, so we will wait until it finishes. We can see all the process. We are almost done. Maybe accept this. And okay, Screaming Frog is already installed on our Ubuntu machine host on AWS Cloud. So we can open the tool. We found it on Internet menu. It asks us about the terms and conditions. We accept, and then we have Screaming Frog running on an instance on cloud instead our laptops or desktop. We can use it as well as we do in our own machines. We can license, we can enter a license, so we can use it And the official link also guides us about some tune that we can configure. The RAM that the tool is allowed to use, in this case we can assign until 29 gigabytes of RAM. And also this tool gives us the option to set the storage mode, I think. Yes, the storage mode. We can use RAM or disk in order to save the data generated when the crawl is executed. The recommendation is to use an SSD disk if we decided to use disk as the option, so the read and write process be as fast as possible. Okay, we have finished this tutorial. I really hope it will help you to see the advantage that the cloud gives to you. As you could see, even when the steps change from cloud to cloud, it is up to you which cloud you use it. But at the end, the installation process of the Screaming Frog tools is the same as you did on your own machine. That is all. Thank you.